Hello, In My Voice family. Welcome back to another episode of the In My Voice podcast. I'm your host, Bonaheri, and as usual, I'm always excited to be back here with you. I hope you're doing well. We only have 2 more months to the end of 2024. Very many things to worry about, but I would rather not be worried but thankful. I hope you are, because I am very thankful to the Lord that I've made it this far with you listening to the In My Voice podcast every other time. Thank you so much for the support. Today, we are diving into a topic that's quietly powerful, yet often ignored. It's something that's been on my mind, and maybe yours too, even if you haven't put it into words. Ever felt the ache when a friendship or relationship fades away, and you are left wondering, what did I do wrong? But here's the kicker. Sometimes, it's not about what you did wrong. Sometimes it's what you didn't do at all. Have you ever wanted to read a letter that was meant for someone else? Have you ever wanted to travel the world but didn't have the time or the money? If so, you are in the right place. Welcome to In My Voice, the podcast where we read letters and share travel stories about places by our guests. I am your host Bonaheri, and each week I'll guide you through these 2 different yet fascinating worlds. In the first segment, we'll read letters written to listeners like you about a variety of subjects, from heartwarming stories to heartbreaking experiences. These letters offer a unique perspective on the human experience. Some of them will make you laugh, while the others will bring a tear to your eye. But they all have one thing in common. They are written from the heart. In the second segment, we will embark on a journey to explore the world through travel stories. We'll visit exotic destinations, meet interesting people, and experience the joys and challenges of traveling. Whether you are a seasoned traveler or someone who's always dreamed of seeing the world, you will find something to inspire you in these stories. So, join me every week as we dive into these 2 fascinating worlds. In My Voice. I promise you won't be disappointed. Subscribe now and don't miss an episode. We all have relationships, friendships that when you sit down and reflect, you just grew apart and nothing wrong really happened. You can't trace what you did wrong, neither can your friend. But it's been a while and you haven't talked. You haven't touched base to talk like friends do, other than hi or laughing at memes posted on statuses. Think about it. Most friendships don't end in dramatic blow-ups or big betrayals. They fade, slip away, unravel little by little, often because of all the small things we leave undone. The check-ins we never made, the how are yous we didn't send, the times we didn't show up when it mattered the most. We assume these things won't matter. Or we trust that the friendship is strong enough to survive the small neglects. But over time, those tiny gaps we overlook start to grow, widening into a very huge canyon. Today we're going to talk about these quiet yet crucial oversights, the little moments we let slide, and how they end up defining our relationships. If you are like me, maybe you've been there, where calls get shorter, conversations feel hollow, and laughter fades until you are left wondering, what happened? So let's unpack it together, because maybe, just maybe, it's not what we did wrong, but what we didn't do at all. You know, we all get caught up in our own worlds, juggling work, school, family, personal projects, and before we know it, time has flown by. Our relationships often fall victim to our busyness. It's not that we don't care, but maybe we assume that the other person knows they are still important to us. We assume they know who would be there if they needed us, right? And I know in your heart, you have that friend you think no matter what happens, if they called me, even if we have not spoken for a number of weeks or months, I would come through for them. But here's the thing. That's a risky assumption, because even the closest bonds need those small gestures to keep the connection alive. It's like watering a plant. You can't expect it to thrive if you never remember to give it a little love, a little water, a little sunlight. So let's talk about those little things. Those things we don't do that lead to us growing apart. Sometimes it's as simple as not texting fast. We get so used to our friends reaching out that we fall into a pattern of waiting. Think about it. When was the last time you made the first move in a friendship? When did you reach out without a reason? Just because. That one small act, or the lack of it, might mean the difference between a thriving friendship and a friendship that fades. Or maybe it's checking in when they post something that seems off. We see a friend post something cryptic on social media, maybe a sad quote or a picture that feels a bit out of character. But we scroll past thinking they are probably fine. We don't want to intrude, right? But maybe they posted that as a quiet cry for someone to notice. For someone to ask, hey, are you okay? That little question could mean so much. I remember there are times in my life when I used to listen to almost everyone. I would listen to my friends. I would be there and call them and check in and, try to make things work. I'm sure we've all been there, where sometimes the world squeezes you and you even do not know where to run to or who to talk to, and you find a very specific meme or quote online and like, oh my God, I can really resonate with this, and then you post it. We need to grow a habit of trying to reach out to people who post some of these things. I've personally reached out to many, and most times someone will tell you, it's just a meme or it's just a quote. It's nothing related to what I'm going through personally. But the truth is, there is always something connected to it. But maybe because we fear being judged or not wanting to let anyone into our business, which is something perhaps someday I'll talk about, because really, mental health matters. So that little question, hey, are you okay, could be the difference. And then there is celebrating little wins. We always show up when our friends have a big moment, a graduation, a promotion, a wedding, or maybe they're celebrating their birthday. But what about the small victories? The day they aced a tough presentation or an interview, or they got into a course that they wanted to do, or finally tackled a goal they've been putting off. Imagine if we cheered for them not only in the big moments, but in those small everyday triumphs. How much more connected would we feel? Let's say you're good friends with someone, and you know that maybe they are struggling with a business. And then, maybe they got a big deal at their business and, it has helped them offset some of the big costs that has been burdening them. It seems small, but just telling them, hey man, I'm glad at least something came up for you. Very happy for you. I hope all is good. That small show of concern. Let's talk scenarios. Let's say you have a friend who has been working hard on a side hustle. Maybe they started a small business and they are pouring their heart into it. You see them sharing updates on social media and you think, good for them. But you never actually reach out to say, I see what you're doing and I'm proud of you. Or maybe you don't buy one of their products, even if it's just a small gesture to support their dream. Eventually, they might feel unsupported, unrecognized, and that silence becomes a gap between you two. And I've seen these things happen. Or perhaps I do not need the products my friend is selling, but yes, we understand, but can you maybe just pause for them? Yeah. These are things we fail to do, but they are very important. Showing support, because why am I just checking on you to say hi and never support you when you actually need the support? What do you think of me if for the whole month you've been pushing something and you're sure I've been seeing and, perhaps I've not done anything for you? It feels sad, and trust me, we treat these things as very tiny non-issues, but they can be non-issues that can actually create a very big distance between you and your friend. What about that friend who always listen to your rants and offers advice, but when it's their turn, you are suddenly busy or unavailable? You are not a bad friend. You just got caught up in your own world, right? But from their perspective, it starts to feel like a one-sided effort, and slowly they might begin to pull away. I am certain you've had these kind of conversations where someone is telling you, man, Nakoa, I've been listening to people's problems. I've been helping, but no one ever comes through for me. Or people start getting isolated because they know every time they start telling you anything that burdens them, you kind of create an excuse to be busy, or, I'm going to get back to you, or something came up. And for you, it's a habit. We need to check ourselves. These are the things we didn't do, the little ways we neglected to show up, and they add up. It's always one scenario after the other, and at the end of the day, it becomes too much for someone to handle. I think we underestimate how much people need to feel seen, valued, and appreciated. So, how do we fix this? How do we keep our friendships from fading into the background noise of our lives? Let's start with the basics. A simple text. Hey, just thought of you. Hope you're doing okay today. Imagine if we all made a habit to send one text like that every week. Just a little check-in to let the people we care about know they are on our mind. Imagine that. I remember last month, I reached out to some of my friends. I normally do this, by the way. I take some time off and start calling or texting them. If it's been a long while, I call. So I called someone and she was happy. I told them I just called to check on you. We've not talked in a very long time. I don't know how you're doing. I hope all is well with you. They were very happy. They told me, you made my day. And I could feel happiness in their voice. Sometimes it's not the big things, it's just the small check-ins. And recently when I met them, they told me, when you called that day, in that moment, I was going through some of the hardest times. And your call made the difference. But of course, as a human being, sometimes you do it and you do not feel it being reciprocated and you give up. You just tell yourself, nah, it's not worth it. I've done this over and over again. And trust me, I have friends that I've given up on. I'm like, no, I can't be the one reaching out to you all the time. Imagine if they did to reach out to me. It would give me more reason to always reach out and be like, if this person is quiet, there is something. I should find out how they're doing. We need to stop assuming that because someone posts something on their status every day, they're happy or everything is good. They have everything figured out. No. That's a huge assumption that we need to overcome and reach out to people and create connections that are everlasting. If you have a friend going through something tough, don't just tell them, I am here if you need anything. Sometimes that statement is too vague. You have to be specific. For example, say, hey, I know you're going through a lot. Can we meet this week on Friday? Or, I've got some time this weekend. Let's hang out. Be proactive. Take initiative to show up. Sometimes people won't reach out even when they need help, but they'll respond if we do. Many years ago when I was at campus, I had a very, very close friend. But she was always very careful about sharing her problems. You had to push her so much. If you called her and like, how are you? She would be the happiest person. Hey, I'm fine and all that. But deep down, she's dying. She was dying. So there is a time she hid from us for a couple of days, like 4 or 5 days. And we were worried because we're used to seeing each other all the time. So I decided to go and reach out to her and find out how she was doing. She was unable to tell me what really she was going through at the moment. But this girl didn't have food. And she had not eaten in 3 days. And she was hiding. She didn't want anyone to know. You know how you can be at campus. You have friends, but you're scared of telling them what really is happening to you. And thank God I reached out and I knew where she was. I was like, I have to go there. That taught me something. If I know where my friend lives, I am going to reach out. If I feel like there is something, things are not adding up, I'm going to reach out. I'm not the best of friends, but at least at some point I have done things where I feel like my friends actually needed me to do. They needed me to just reach out and make sure that they know I got them. So you need to be proactive and take the initiative to show up. Sometimes people won't reach out, trust me, they won't. But when you do reach out to them, they'll respond. Listen, and I mean really listen. When your friend is talking, put the phone away and look them in the eye and give them your full attention. In this fast-paced world, that level of attention is rare and it speaks volumes. Most of us are always on our phones, even when we are with our friends. Always on our phones, responding to people who are not here with us. Make people feel heard. It's one of the simplest ways to show that you care. One more thing. Celebrate your friends. Don't wait for a birthday or a big occasion. Celebrate their small wins, the little things they are proud of, the random man crush Mondays, woman crush Wednesdays. Celebrate your friends. They need that love. I know it's quite complicated when people get into relationships like, but I heard when I post you, it's over for me. I totally understand, but let's celebrate our friends. Let's show them we care. Let's reach out. You don't have to necessarily post them on social media. Just reach out and, tell them I'm proud of you. I know what you're going through on a daily basis, but I'm very proud of you for always standing up and standing out. Text them when you see something that reminds you of them. Don't let too much time pass without reaching out. And if you are in a relationship, this applies too. Sometimes it's not the big romantic gestures that hold the relationship together. It's the everyday, ordinary acts of kindness, patience, and gratitude. Relationships, friendships, they are like plants. They need constant care, little drops of water to keep them growing. And your act of kindness, you're reaching out, the text message, the phone call, that is the drop of water onto your friendship. So, my dear In My Voice family, next time you wonder why a friendship or relationship faded, ask yourself this: what didn't I do? And before things start sleeping, maybe it's time we make a little more effort. Let's show up for the people we love. Let's be intentional about staying connected, and let's not let the small things fall through the cracks. If there is something that your friend has done that you do not like, let them know, so that you just don't go silent on them. You don't gossip people like that. Because this person may be happy and you could be the only reason they are finding reason to smile every single day because you reach out. And then all of a sudden, you disappear. And they try to reach out and nothing, and you're gone. Let's be our friend's keeper. Let's care about our friend's mental well-being. Because it's not about the grand gestures. It's the tiny, seemingly insignificant actions that strengthen our bonds over time. So don't let your friendships drift away because of what you didn't do. You have only one duty as a friend: do the right thing. And there we have it, folks. Sometimes it's not about what we did. It's about what we didn't do. Those small moments, those missed opportunities to show up, to connect, to reach out, they can make all the difference. Relationships, whether friendships or otherwise, need nurturing, attention, and effort. So as you go about your day, think about that friend you haven't spoken to in a while, that text you never sent, or that text you never responded to. I know you're busy. Or that coffee date you keep putting off every other time. Maybe it's time to do something about it. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the In My Voice as we have been reflecting on the small things that we don't do. If this episode resonates with you, share it with someone who might need the reminder. It's time to send that friend of yours this episode so that they can listen to it and be like, oh, you know what? I actually didn't do this and I need to do it. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Comment. It helps us reach more listeners who might need these conversations. Until next time, keep building those connections, keep doing the small things, and keep spreading the love. This is Bonaheri. Take care and remember, it's never too late to show up.